At 5:30, the Pleasant Valley Recreation Parks Board met in closed session. Meeting was officially opened at that time. We have now concluded closed session, and Mary Otten will report.
So the report out from closed session, there's a 5-0 vote to go to mediation with SEIU.
Mark?
Sure. Please rise. Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Director Malloy.
Here.
Director Mishler.
Here.
Director Dixon.
Here.
Director Magner.
Here.
Chairman Kelly.
Here. Amendments to the agenda, if any.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
Second.
Director Magner.
Aye.
Director Dixon.
Aye.
Director Malloy.
Aye.
Director Mishler.
Aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. District highlights.
So good evening, Chairman Kelly and member of the board. I would like to formally introduce Sarah Scrivano. She is a recreation specialist with camps, classes, and outdoor education. She will be presenting the district highlights and spotlight for you this evening. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so to start with,
Roll your mic down.
There you go.
hi. Great. To start with, at the Aquatic Center, there are many classes and camps to sign up for, such as lifeguard training, springboard diving, pirate and mermaid camp, junior lifeguards, and after school at the pool. We also have new classes available, such as art, golf camp, fashion design, sewing, and sports-related classes. National Trails Day is June 1st. Come out and volunteer to help us with the trail work at Camarillo Grove Park. At the Senior Center, there is a movie and lunch this Thursday showing Mother's Day at 1 p.m. in the auditorium. There is a Las Vegas excursion happening June 18th and 20th, and there's a volunteer opportunity presentation on May 21st on how to become a trained hospice volunteer. Upcoming special events include 50 Plus Expo on May 7th, starting at 9:30 a.m., a food truck festival on May 25th, starting at 4 p.m., and the summer concert series. In sports, we have the Summer Adult Softball, Kickball, and Pickleball Leagues registration that is opened April 29th, and Summer Adult Basketball registration will start May 28th. Camarillo Grove Park is now open again after the Hillfire, and on Arbor Day, there were 15 Coast Live Oak trees donated and planted by the Camarillo Rotary Club. For District Spotlight, we wanted to highlight Camp Funtastic. Registration is now open. We will have weekly field trips to fun excursions such as Casitas Water Adventure, Santa Barbara Zoo, and the Moxie Museum in Santa Barbara. We will also visit other local parks and go to the Aquatic Center twice a week. We will have many arts and crafts activities, games, and fun this summer. We are hiring for park supervisor, camp staff, lifeguards, and recreation leaders. And thank you for letting me present.
Thank you very much. Any questions by the board? Lanny, you're up.
Chairman Kelly, members of the board, tonight I would like to introduce Kathleen Kelly, the president of the Camarillo Eagles Soccer Club. She will be doing her annual update for this year.
Hello. Good evening, Chairman Kelly and the directors of the board. Thank you for the opportunity for me to come and update you and share about the Eagles. The Eagles this year, this past season, had 648 registered players on 39 teams, which is about the same as we've had in the last many years. You know, we limit it due to practice space and things like that. But, you know, we've been able to do that. We've held 4 successful soccer tournaments this last year, a golf tournament, and several other fundraisers. We have 25 coaches on staff, and these coaches, while they coach our teams, we've really been encouraging them to, and requiring them to up their coaching licenses. Licenses go from like a D level to an A level, and it gets increasingly more expensive and difficult as they go on to get to the C level. They have to spend 3 weeks in Kansas City over about a 6-month period in order to take these courses and pass them. And so then it goes up to B, and then A, of course, is the highest level you can achieve. So they've really been working on that. We have 6 teams that play in the U.S. Soccer League. And then we have, all of our other teams. Our little U9 team has won State Cup now for the 2nd year in a row. They're really a bunch of talented little girls. And this past fall, we started our first Eagles Youth Soccer League, which is a recreational league for 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. And then we also played in the spring. And from those teams that we had, we put together our new competitive teams for the next year. The oldest group moves on to the competitive side of the Eagles. So that's been made that recruiting process a lot easier and a lot more fun. The kids are having a blast, and it's just growing and growing. So anyway, other than this is my 22nd year volunteering with the Eagles. Lanny and I just figured out, I think this is my 15th year, 14th, 15th year speaking before you. And as always, we're extremely grateful for the Park District and what it allows us to give our players and our teams. The staff is always helpful and easy to work with. And that's about all I got to say.
Any questions?
I just had one real quick. How many kids do you have in the rec part of it? Has that been?
In the rec part of it, last year we had about 62 players last fall. So
Does that count in your 650 total? Is it?
no,
That's okay.
no, it's a separate part of that.
If you have kids that are really talented, that are younger, can they move on to the more competitive league, or do they have to age out?
Well, it depends, because there's a certain age level. They won't let you play competitive until you're 8 years old.
Okay.
So we do have some of the 8-year-olds playing on the 9-year-old teams, like maybe 1 or 2, but typically we have them wait.
Okay.
Even though it's a recreational league, this little league, it was extremely competitive. I mean, these kids were really going at it, so it was a lot of fun, and they're co-ed, so it's a lot of fun.
Are the playing time and that sort of thing in the rec league, is that similar to ASO style?
Yeah,
Or
everybody plays at least half a game, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks.
Anyone else?
And that rec league, are they playing internal, or are you guys playing other?
No, we're playing internal.
It's all internal?
Yeah.
And then on the snack bar, and I know this bounces back and forth, and I saw the monies there, of course. I guess you're losing money on the snack bar?
We've always lost money on the snack bar. Yeah.
Now, are any funds being transferred to ASO for the snack bar or not?
ASO, they get 10% of any profit we make from during league time, league play, when we're both out there. And then if they want to use our services for a tournament, they get, I think it's 20 or 25%. But we provide all the workers, all the volunteers. We do all the physical work and put out the money for the food and all of that.
So was any money then sent to ASO last year, for example?
I don't think so, no. We don't make any money on it. It's almost, it provides a service is the way we look at it. I mean, it gives, every one of our players has to have a parent volunteer 15 hours for the year, for the whole year. So it provides the opportunity for them to volunteer. And it provides a service. I mean, we have an open snack bar with great food and with a very wide and diverse menu. And we've really never looked at it as a moneymaker. It's because we're just not open enough. It's impossible to, like this spring, we were open for our March tournament, and now we're not going to be open again until July. So, we end up paying premium prices because we don't buy that much food. And, so it's...
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so
I know.
We don't make any money.
I mean, you know that. When I was ASO regional commissioner and we were out there at Freedom Park, we always made money.
We always made money, but we also...
And I don't know what you're doing internal, so I don't know.
Well,
but-
I think the length of the field is there are people.
Yeah, you don't have all the people coming by the snack bar.
Exactly. We don't have, at ASO, everybody parked right next to the snack bar.
Right.
So you walked by there or you left.
It was close enough to all the fields.
It was. And there are people that play, especially during league, for the ASO kids that play down by the softball fields that don't even know we have a snack bar because they park down there. They come out, they play, and they leave. So I think that definitely puts a problem into it. So
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No. Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
thank you.
I don't have any cards tonight. Are they being purloined or something? Thanks, Bob. This is the time set aside for public comment, and in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.3, the board reserves this time to hear from the public. If you would like to speak about an item on the agenda, we would prefer you complete a speaker card, give it to the clerk of the board, and wait till it comes up. If you'd like to make comments about other areas not on the agenda in accordance with California law, we will listen, note them, and bring them back at a later date for discussion. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board, and the subject tonight is not on the agenda, so you're up, Bob.
Hello. The 3-minute rule is a good rule because people, including me, can have a tendency to go on and on and on about things that have no real relevance to the issues of running the organization. On the other hand, it's extremely restrictive in terms of putting out information from individuals, specifically me, so that you can then take action or at least introduce it and then talk about it. I was looking into the history of 3-minute rule, and I don't know if Abraham Lincoln had such a restriction, but he gave the Gettysburg Address in 3 minutes. Did you know that? Quite impressive. You ought to read it once in a while if you haven't. I hadn't for a long time. It's quite a speech. And the part that really impressed me most was when he talked about what I get these mixed up. Of, for, and by the people. Is that the correct order? Of the people, by the people. That's it. Of the people, by the people, for the people. And I think we really have lost that spirit with Recreation and Parks District simply because of the nature of the board. The board is representative of a lot of good things. Let's face it, you're politicians. If you don't know that, you are, and that's good. So anything I would say or anybody else, it's not personal. We're looking at you to be politically astute and to carry out the wishes of the people. It seems, though, that we have really, and you just heard a presentation from a lady. Was that a yearly update?
It was.
And it took something like, what, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes? And that particular organization has dominated this district for years and years and years. And we have to break that open to talk about that organization and how we want to conduct ourselves vis-a-vis that organization and the other couple of big guys who are just sucking our blood out of the system because we only have very, very limited funds. Now, what they're doing with it is great, wonderful, fantastic. But think in terms of opportunity costs. If we give the opportunity to spend time, money, and people to the Eagles, to the baseball team and all the rest, and we help all their little kids, what about our little kids? Our little kids are the ones that don't belong to the teams. So think in terms of opportunity costs, and I'd like to know, to tie it in conclusion, with the opening statement of the 3-minute rule. When can we talk about this? You know, I can go over and talk to Bob anytime. He's very open. I've spent a lot of time with Mark over the years. Mike, yes. Elaine to a much lesser degree, and same with the doctor. So think in terms of how we can get together and discuss these things and put them out into a format that allows the people to put their 2 cents, more than 2 cents, to make presentations on things that are meaningful to the district and will have an impact. And I thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob.
And Neil Dixon, how could I forget? Good man. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no other cards, we will move on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Malloy,
Aye.
Director Dixon,
Aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. Item 8, new items. Consideration and rejection of the bids for the Valley Lindo restroom remodel project.
Good evening, Chairman Kelly, members of the board. Instead of asking you to approve it, tonight I'm asking you to reject it. We had, let me get this thing moving here. As you know, in 18-19 budget, you guys approved the $425,000 to do this job to remodel Valley Lindo restrooms. We hired an architect firm, Leach Mounts, out of Ventura, to design it using an existing building. On October 3rd, I came to you for RFP proposals. Y'all passed it. December 6th, I came back with the selection of the architect design and how it was going. Of course, you guys approved that one. February 6th, we presented again, made a few little changes, minor things. And again, you guys approved the concept designs, requested architectural reconfigure. That's what the few little changes were. We used instead of one toilet, one urinal, we added a trough. So we did that. We redesigned the entryway to walk in to the men's so you can't look directly into it. And again, all this was approved on the bid specifications for the remodel of Valley Lindo. So the women's will have three toilet stalls, sink, change table. The men's will have one toilet and a trough, and change table and sink. And these will all be ADA compliant, which they are not now. The exterior building will be the same, except for it will be sandblasted down to the block. We'll put a clear sealer over it so it's graffiti resistant. So we had a mandatory job walk on March 21st. I had 7 contractors attend. One of them was an electrical contractor, so that threw him out. Bids were due by April 10th, and I had 3 that come back on the due date. We sat and opened them, and they ranged from $364,000 to $400,000. That was just their bid, not including the contingency fund and the architect. So here's the 3 bidders that brought it in.
Are those local, I guess? How local are they?
G2K was Segura, United is the Valley, and Coit was in Somas. So our engineer's estimate was $262,000 plus our contingency fund and their profit. So the lowest bid was $100,000 over that mark, and it just Mayor and I talked about it, it was way over. I mean, again, it's at estimated $900 a square foot, which is crazy. I mean, we talked to the architect, and he's thinking around 5, and this came back at 9. So we talked with him and went through some of the changes that we can get rid of. They had tile in there. They had the stucco repair was crazy. I'm not sure what they were doing there, but that number is way high. The pavilion. Oops, I'm sorry. Wasn't it? Oh, the pavilion. There it is. They had aluminum. They spec'd out for aluminum slats, and we went to wood now, with a bid alt. I'm going to come back to you and ask you to go right back. So we don't really need aluminum up there. I mean, it looked nice, but they'll probably get damaged, and then we have to have it specially done. So we feel by removing some of this stuff here, we can lower that price down to our engineer's estimate. So, anyways, the funds come from the Quimby Fund. Out of it, we have plenty of money there. $5,698,000 is sitting in that. So it's recommended the Board of Directors reject all bids and on the Valley Lindo project and authorize the general manager to adjust the scope and re-advertise the project for construction.
I have a question, I guess. The process, if we reject this bid, is general manager will be working with you and the architect to come back, and then we'll see that back here on the board, whatever you come back with, right?
No.
Oh, you just go straight out the bid?
Yes, we've already done that. We've already looked at it. We've made those adjustments. I got the specs in today. Everything's been modified.
Okay, so you don't need to come back to us again for that next.
No. We did this last year with this year with the Musco and baseball. We came back to you with a 10-day period. So what I'll do is I'll rerun it back in the newspaper, which you have to legally do it. I'll do that for 10 days. It's going to be a quick time frame, but most of them will bid it again. They know what they did, where to make these cuts. I mean, they tried to do the cuts in front with us, but legally we can't do that. So it's got to be apples for apples.
So some of this input that you have in your proposal for changes came from the people who were proposing some of the work?
So let me see if I get, so there's a couple things. One, with the tile work, there was a small amount of tile work, but we were getting bids, if you looked at the bid sheets, tile work was coming in anywhere from $20,000 to $52,000. And that was over $100 a square foot. So what we did, we actually met with the architect, we met with Matt this morning and said, okay, let's take the tile out completely. There was a small bit of it. Tile in an outdoor bathroom, especially on a site like that. So we took that completely out, and then we asked him to rescope the pavilion. So the pavilion would be a wood slats, kind of like we have over at Bob Kildee, and then asked him to do a bid alt, which was the original of the aluminum slats. So it'll come back. So we've made those 2 adjustments. Those 2 adjustments alone should bring down the price about anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 according to the bids. So that will help bring that price down and not change the scope of the project at all. And if the board so chose to go with the bid alt with the aluminum slats, you'd still have that option, but at least we'd be able to do a price comparison to make sure it was within those bid specs.
I'll make a motion to reject all bids received on the Valley Lindo restrooms, a remodel project, and authorize the general manager to adjust the scope and re-advertise the project for construction bids.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Director Magner.
Aye.
Director Mishler.
Aye.
Director Malloy.
Aye.
Director Dixon.
Aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. B, consideration approval for the purchase of park tables for Cam Grove Park.
Good evening, Chairman Kelly, members of the board. Nick Marienthal, Park Supervisor, and tonight I'm here to discuss the option of purchasing replacement tables for Camarillo Grove Park due to the Hill fire. So the Pleasant Valley Parks and Rec was directly affected by the Hill fire, which started near Hill Canyon and worked its way through the park in November of last year. The district suffered quite a bit of loss. We lost a lot of trees, fences, picnic tables, the synthetic turf, retaining wall, and a playground. So a local and federal emergency was declared, which would allow the district to apply for FEMA, which as of today, we did get funding from FEMA on the roof for the upper restroom, and we're also working with our insurance company to get through the fixes to replace the damaged items and restore the park back to its natural state. So the park was closed for approximately 5 months. During that time, the debris was moved throughout the park and drainage areas. Again, 24 trees were removed, 27 picnic tables and 5 benches, the synthetic turf, playground along with the retaining wall, and a section of a concrete walkway. So if you remember, we had the fire. Right after the fire, we got hit with several storms, which caused even more chaos. We put 4,500 sandbags along our trail system before the rain, which helped tremendously, in my opinion. The biggest problem we had was with the rain is through our drainage areas. Our park is in the main drainage of that whole canyon, so everything drains out. 3 canyons drain out through our park, basically. So you can imagine the amount of water, debris, rocks, trash from the freeways. I mean, we ended up taking out over 15 dump trucks of dirt just out of our one drainage there. So here's some pictures of what's left of our playground. And here's the drainage I was talking about. And I apologize. I should have put some pictures of what we removed out of there. This is how it looks. So this was right after the fire. However, after the rain came, it was devastated down here. We had, like I said, 3 to 4 feet of dirt in some areas, of sediment and silt and rocks. Some you couldn't even see some picnic tables. That's how high the debris flow came down. And here's the west side of the nature center. You see everything's just burned. All our fencing panels are still there, but all the wood and bender boards, trees, and the hillside's just barren. And here's the devastation of our trail system. So currently, what has been restored is the fencing in the small dog park along in the nature center has been completed. The synthetic turf was completed last week, and that is now open. Planting of 20 coast live oaks was done last week, and that was through the Rotary Club of Camarillo, which donated all those trees. They raised the funds and put those trees back, and just a way to give back to the community, which is wonderful. And the restrooms have been repainted, both sets. So here's a picture of the part of the work that has been complete. This is in the Nature Center. There's the other section of the Nature Center. If you look in the background, you can see how green it already has come. We're getting resilient growth back from a lot of our native plants. Our oak trees are sending out tremendous new growth. So, you know, after fire, there still is life. And if you get out there now, the trails are still pretty rough treading, but you can just see all the wonderful growth that's coming back. And here's our synthetic turf. So the district's insurance company removed the 27 tables and 5 benches. The areas that were affected the most were areas 4 and 5, and again down that dry creek bed. And again, like I said earlier, staff removed the mud and debris along with the creek bed, and now we're ready to replace the tables. So district staff received 2 bids, one being $20,840 and the other one being $30,123. From 2 different vendors, and Capri will cover the replacement tables. However, the board will need to approve the purchase as the expenditure is above the limit of our general manager. And here's the 2 comparison quotes. The one from Pilot Rock is the one we'll be recommending to go with, and the ship time is 6 to 8 weeks roughly. So the fiscal impact would be $20,840.20. However, the district's insurance company has already sent the district a check for $73,000 towards the damages caused by the fire. Of the $73,000 paid to the district, $37,884 has been expensed to replace and repair some damaged by the fire. A current balance of $35,116 is available to cover the cost of the new benches and tables. So it is recommended that the board authorize and approve the general manager to purchase replacement picnic benches and tables for Camarillo Grove Park from Pilot Rock in the amount of $20,840.20. And with that, is there any questions I can answer?
Yeah, Nick, on the two estimates you got back there, I'm just shocked how far apart they were. It's a big difference. Was there some reason? Because the tables are essentially the same.
They're almost exactly, I mean, they are different. They're both aluminum. They're both spec the same. It's just a different manufacturer. And Pilot Rock we've been using for quite a while. All of our recent purchases have all been through them, and they've beat every competitor.
And you're happy with them?
Absolutely, yeah. They've held up well and easy to assemble, and it's a good product.
Okay, I'm just curious why there was that. That's a large difference.
Yeah, you never know. You never know when bids come back. It's very amazing sometimes, the difference in almost the exact same product, what their markup is.
Okay. The second question I have for you tonight is, you talked about 35, whatever, if you back up one slide, you've already used some of the money, 35,000 that. No, that's the balance.
Yeah, that's our balance, 37.
Does that include any of that playground equipment, or is that a separate item?
You know, that has not been anything for the playground. Has not been expended.
No, that's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, yes. That'll actually. So the way this all works is the first portion of the 73 comes out of Capri. After that, then it ends up coming out of our excess carrier. And depending on if either one of those two are able to pick it up, then what will happen? If not, then we apply for FEMA funds. So we were, as Nick had mentioned, the roof, the upper restroom roof was damaged. Neither one of these will pick it up, but FEMA is picking that cost up, which is about $5,000. So next month you will have. We will be coming back to you regarding the playground. As a reminder, with any of these things, they're like in kind. So if we're doing anything other than like or kind or doing an upgrade, then we'll end up picking up the balance of that. But a majority of this will be covered by insurance.
Okay, thank you.
The excess carrier you generally won't pay until all the money underneath them is exhausted.
Correct.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What happens to the other $15,000? Can we spend it on something else, or how does the Capri money work?
Yeah. So
I know how the other guy works. I just don't know how Capri works.
So what we'll start doing is we'll keep putting money toward this project. So the $37,000, and I think Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you've been coding all the bills. So right now, out of the 37, we've got some of the fence, staffing time, debris removal, some of that. So we're still getting in bills, but it will use up the $73,000. So we're just billing everything that is attributed to the Hill Fire. As we keep getting bills, it'll go back to there.
Right, yeah, and nothing even has been started on the trail yet, so the money will definitely be spent.
Right. Well, I didn't know if we could take out staff costs. That was, and you answered that, so that's okay. Thank you.
I think that answered my question too. Actually my question was, is the staff time that is coverable by one of the insurance options? Capri or the excess carrier or FEMA will cover the cost of our labor. Okay.
Leo.
I've been working with FEMA on that. So the way it works is the salary employees, the time that like Mary, Bob, Nick, and myself, Eric, we put in is not covered. That is not reimbursable. But the time that our grounds guys worked at the fire command post, the evacuation center, and our communication center, which was the admin office, that is reimbursable. So I have submitted the final paperwork 2 weeks ago to FEMA, So it's going through their processes. So that will be reimbursed along with any supplies we were out. Water, Bob did an estimate on water, toilet paper, paper towels for both the evacuation center and for the fire command post. So any expenses we had are reimbursed, but the only employee expenses are the hourly employees, and it can only be the overtime. It cannot be the 40 hours per week.
Oh, that happened during the fire?
If
Or
they
as a
worked,
result of the
if they
fire?
worked, like the fire started on a Thursday, if they worked Friday at the command center 8 hours, and then they stayed an extra 2, those 8 hours are not billable, because that's their
Right.
regular
Okay.
shift. But those 2 hours of overtime are billable to FEMA.
So any of the work that Nick's crew does out there now, repair work, that is not billable either?
No.
Okay.
It's within their 40-hour work week.
Right, okay, thank you.
Mark, you have anything tonight?
No, I realize what a giant paper stream this thing is, and it's hard to imagine that the tables built as sturdy as those tables are could get washed away, but they did. So I'm comfortable with all this.
Okay. Motion on this subject.
I'll make a motion to authorize and approve the general manager to purchase replacement tables for Camarillo Grove Park from Pilot Rock in the amount of $20,840.20.
I'll second.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Director Malloy?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Chairman Kelly?
Aye.
Thank you.
C, approving resolution number 625, fixing the employer contribution in an equal amount for employees and annuitants under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act with respect to a recognized employee organization.
Chairman Kelly, members of the board, I'm bringing to you tonight a resolution to fix an employer contribution at an equal amount for the employees and annuitants under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act, which I will reference as PEMCA. I'm going to pretty much read these slides to you because there's a lot of numbers, a lot of dates, and a lot of background and history, and I would prefer not to misspeak. So we're going to go back to 1997 when the district began contracting with CalPERS for health benefits. By contracting with CalPERS, the district became subject to requirements of state law governing CalPERS health benefits. PEMCA requires the district to pay at least a minimum of health contributions each month for their participating active membership and the retirees, the active membership, AKA the employees. The contribution is known as the Equal Contribution Rule. Contributions back in 1997 started out as $1 per month for retirees, increasing by 5% each year. So we're going to speed up to 2017. 20 years have passed. We have now reached the equal amounts for active membership, again, the employees and the retirees. So for 2019, the PEMCA amount for active membership and retirees is $136 per month.
Is that the cost to the district?
Yes,
That's a district cost
yes,
per employee.
yes.
And retiree.
When the district contracted with CalPERS, it elected to contribute the PEMCA minimum amount and also apply the unequal contribution method for active employees and retirees. This was by Resolution 334. In 1997, again, the lowest amount for the district could contribute for the employees was $16 per month, $1 per month for retirees. In 1996, Resolution 335 was adopted. This resolution, the board elected to pay the cost of the highest HMO plan per month, including the enrollment of a spouse. The district pays 70% of the highest plan per month, meeting the PEMCA minimum contribution amount for the employees, and that statement is for present day. 2013, the district adopted 2 resolutions, number 512 and 516. 512 reflected the share of the employer contribution to the employee's health care cost in 2014 of 75%, 2015 62.5%, and 2016 50%. This is where this next bullet is why I'm standing in front of you right now. Resolution 516 indicated that the employer's contribution shall be $1,072.04 per month. And I included that resolution in your packet. So if you needed to, I don't know what page it's on, but you could see that in your packet. The intent of the district was not to change from the CalPERS PIMCA amount, which was that smaller amount of the minimum contribution, even after that resolution stating 1,072 was adopted. The district continued, and PERS billed us, continued to make that smaller amount, the 130, 133, currently 136, of the PIMCA minimum contribution for the active employees and the retirees. Recently, CalPERS did an audit, a self-audit of the health care resolutions that the districts or cities submitted to them. They discovered that our resolution stated that we were supposed to be paying $1,072. PERS was only billing us the minimum contribution, like I said, $130, whatever the amount was for that year, not the $1,072. Nor was the district paying the $1,072. The district's never paid $1,072, nor has CalPERS ever billed us $1,072. So on March 28th, the district was notified by the Healthcare Account Management Division Health Resolution and Compliance Service that we were making the lower payment than our resolution stated, which is true. Our resolution said at $1,072, we're paying $136. So when we got that notification, we were like, no, that was not the intent of the district. There was a misunderstanding. Also keeping in mind, CalPERS typed up the resolution for us back in 2013. So we worked with CalPERS and we said, okay, that was not the intent. You've never billed us that amount. We've never paid that amount. What can we do to fix this? And they said, if you get a resolution to us by the morning of May 2nd, we will not bill you for the month of May of $1,072 per retiree. So if you pass this resolution tonight in the morning, I will fax them or email them the resolution, and our billing for May will be at $136 per annuitant. So again, what I just stated, CalPERS is willing to work with us because Mary and I convinced them that that was not the intent and that the history shows that it was never billed, we never paid it. It was an oversight that CalPERS, when they had typed up the resolution, for whatever reason, they put 1072 in there and it moved forward. So again, I'm talking about 512 and 516. I'm going to get the new resolution this evening, and that will move us back down to 136, and this problem can be put to bed. So there'll be no fiscal impact on this item because the budget, I've already budgeted for the retirees for the 18-19, so the fiscal impact will be zero on this item. So I'm asking the board to approve Resolution 625 to get us back in line with the intent of the district and to come into compliance with the billing from CalPERS.
If I'm not mistaken, we're talking about one individual for this applies to?
No, we
for
have
retirees?
we have 6 annuitants that currently get CalPERS medical. So they get the 136 per month. All the employees are entitled to one. If the district said, we're not going to pay any medical for you, the district would have to pay 136 minimum for each one of us and for the retirees that choose CalPERS for medical insurance upon retirement. But the district exceeds that amount for the employees because you pay 70%. So you exceed the 136 for the employees, and then you're paying the 136, which is the minimum contribution for under the PIMCA ruling.
If an employee does not an employee that's actively working here today does not sign up for any medical, we still pay the 136?
We do not.
We do not, okay. Thank you.
And we do not pay for a retiree if they do not carry CalPERS into retirement.
Correct.
I have no question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm fine.
And also, we pay the 70% for employees, but retirees, other than somebody who might be grandfathered into a different deal, it would be the 136.
Correct. We have one situation that it was grandfathered in, but all the other other retirees are at 136 for fiscal year 18-19.
I'm not, this probably has nothing to do with approving this, but I'm not quite sure how the math works, that starting at $1 in 1997, increasing to 5%, that somehow doesn't look to me like that would be $136 today. Is it?
I did not personally do the math. I took their word for it via emails that is. So I can do the math, and then I can email them and come back with an answer for you.
Yeah, that's not really relevant to passing this. It's just, yeah, I'd be curious to see if that math works out.
No, I can compute it out and see.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
If you flip to page 101 on your agenda, you have a copy there of the resolution that Leo referred to, and it says enrollment of his or her family members in a health benefits plan up to a maximum of $1,072 per month. Now, it doesn't say $1,072 per month. It says up to a maximum. But arguing with CalPERS is just a complete waste of your breath and time. So I'll just point out that it doesn't look to me like the resolution is really wrong, but if they say it's wrong, and you got to fix it. So I'm supportive of the motion. So.
Anyone else?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 625, fixing the employee contribution at an equal amount for employees and annuitants under the HCA with respect to a recognized employee organization.
I'll second.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Malloy?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Chairman Kelly?
Aye.
D, consideration and directions regarding legislative bill ACA 1.
Okay. Good evening. So currently, Policy Committee is currently reviewing a legislative policy. And I think we've kind of talked about this before, and before we're able to get that to the full board, there's a couple bills that have come up. I know that Director Magner has put one in your packet tonight, but here's the other one. So CSD has requested a support letter for legislative bill ACA 1. ACA 1 provides what the entire purpose is, additional flexibility to local agencies by reducing the voter-approved threshold from 2/3 vote to 55%. So right now, the California Constitution requires a 2/3 vote at the local level for both a general obligation bond as well as special taxes. So like when we did the assessment, any of those things right now require a 2/3 vote. 20 years ago, the state voters approved Prop 29. That was a 2/3 threshold, which was for schools and I should say school construction. And at that point, they lowered the threshold from 2/3 down to 55%, which is what ACA 1 is looking to do. So ACA 1 would create the new threshold of 55% for both the general obligation bonds as well as special taxes. However, with that, it's very specific. So it's specifically for construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation of public infrastructure, and affordable housing as part of that. It even goes further to say what specific projects. So if you look, whether it's water protection, protection of property, regarding sea level rise, open space, parks, recreation facilities, flood control. So it's very specific for ACA 1 of what this looks like. So it's not for everything, but it has to be tied into infrastructure. Under the ACA 1, voters would still need to support by 55% to pass a bond. So it's not just saying, hey, we get to, we're going to put this on there and it has to pass. It still has to pass with 55%. If ACA1 passes both the House and the legislature with 2/3 votes, then it's placed on the ballot statewide in 2020 for the voters to then decide if they would like this to go forward. So there's no fiscal impact to this, but it is recommended the board give me direction whether we would like to send a letter of support. In your packet, there's information regarding the more specifics regarding ACA1. There's a draft letter in support. If the direction is that, I will send that to CFCA. If we decide no support, or if you decide you would like me to have a letter of non-support. So either way, but just need direction from the board if you would like me to send a letter of support or non-support to CSDA. At this point, I'll take any questions you might have.
Start with you, Mike.
No questions. I support this.
I have no questions either, because I support it.
I don't have any questions. I'm remembering back to when we did the revenue measure, and we got 68%, I believe 68% and change. And that's an incredibly high number of people to say yes to more taxes. My guess is that's a threshold that's completely impossible to reach in today's world. So if, for example, it doesn't work out for us to be able to do the things that we needed to do and needed to ask the community for more money, 55% would be a much more realistic target to be able to make. So this would essentially be a very good safety net for us to have, because without it, we would be in the position of having to take essentially a long shot in order to get the funding to do the things we needed to do to meet the needs of the community. So I'm supportive of the measure. I'm not sure how the voters are going to feel about it, but it's going to be their call in November anyway, and I'd support us supporting the concept in Sacramento. That's all.
Doc?
Well, I hate to be different from everybody else, but I'm not in support of this. I think California has, despite some resistances to various tax proposals, has managed to put itself in a position of being one of the most highly taxed states in the country. And so I don't feel in a position that and they've managed to get past whatever obstacles have been there in the past. So I am not going to be voting in favor of this.
You know what? I now that I've heard what the doctor has said, I do have a question. The items that were listed there that were this lowering of the threshold, the items that it can be used for. Somebody give me a real live example of how one of those would come up. For instance, let's use flood control. How would that come up and become relevant in regard to this new threshold?
Let me see if I can let me use parks.
I know it's a poor question, but I can't think of a better one.
No, so let me use parks in this scenario, since that's what we do. So, for instance, the community and recreation facility, that we're right now going through the needs assessment. So let's say we had to go out for a tax. Right now, if we went out for an assessment like we did with PV Fields to get that built, right now the threshold is 55, is two-thirds votes. If we wanted to go out for a tax and say, hey, look, voters, do you want this built? We could go out, and with this change, it would be a 55% vote instead of two-thirds vote. But it would have to be for infrastructure. So meaning it has to be related to a facility, a park. It has to be one of those. It can't just be, hey, we're going to tax you so we can include maintenance on it. It actually has to relate back to infrastructure.
So on some of these items that could be, who could propose you've already said that local municipalities and special districts and so forth could do it.
Correct.
But this also allows a broader reach by state government, does it not?
Well, currently, state government, so the last bond that passed, let's take the park and water bond that just passed. State actually has a 55% threshold.
Yeah.
So local governments right now are at actually a higher level threshold than what the state and what the school districts are at. So we are actually, I think that was part of this bill, is that to put us in comparison to where the state levels are at 55%, as well as the schools, to put everybody on an even playing field.
That answers my question. Motion, please.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, what?
Oh, okay, I'll
Go ahead and read it.
Okay. I recommend the board consider and provide direction regarding the draft letter for ACA 1 and to support the measure.
As provided in our document.
Right, as provided as in the package.
I'll second.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Malloy,
Aye.
Director Dixon,
No.
Chairman Kelly.
No. Consideration and approval of resolution number 626, adopting a district grant application policy.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Stand up here today to recommend that the district adopt Resolution 626, adopting a district grant application policy. To summarize, currently the district staff and current practice dictates that staff bring all grant applications to the board of directors for approval. Staff is proposing that this grant application process to expedite grant applications for amounts under $15,000. The district board in the past has actually rejected inappropriate grant applications due to a number of reasons. For example, projects that are unrelated to services the district provides, or projects that would require the creation of new services, essentially based on the chance of receiving new funds. Since 2015, all applications for grants have been done through the board, and there have been special meetings needed at a number of times. For example, the MLB Baseball Tomorrow Fund grant is the most recent example of having to do a special meeting for the approval of an application. And there have been missed application windows due to late notices or late notification of district staff of grant availability. Unfortunately, this is part of the problem with the amount of grants and the services we provide, is that we do qualify for quite a large number of grants, and the district staff, none of which are specifically directed at searching for grants, do unfortunately find certain applications available at a later time than would be ideal to bring in front of the board. So, like I said, due to the sheer volume of our programming and grant availability, it's not always, let's say, lost the word here, not always exactly time friendly in regards to when applications are due and when our meetings take place. In further consideration, the district budget, the board provides staff direction as to programming and facility use through the district budget. What the grant application policy would do would essentially extend this principle. The board would provide staff direction over programming and facilities through the budget, and the application or the grant application policy would essentially extend that to allow staff to search for grants that apply specifically to facilities and programming that already exists. The application or the grant application policy in your packet requires grant applications to follow the following steps. That first, the staff discovers a grant opportunity supporting current programming. The grant application does not require budget adjustments to secure matching funds. and the grant application is for an amount less than $15,000, which aligns with the general manager's purchasing limit. So that any grant application that was submitted and possibly awarded would not require the general manager to go out for board approval in order to expend the grant funds. Any applications would be reported to the district board at the following meeting in order to keep the board informed on grant applications currently in rotation. Staff realizes that the district budget provides programming priorities and structure, and this would be applied to any grant application, and the policy authorizes grant applications below the general manager's purchasing limit, like I just said. And any applications, once again, would have to be approved or any applications approved by the general manager would be reported to the district board. There is no direct fiscal impact from approving this policy. However, it would streamline the process that staff would be able to follow in order to apply for smaller dollar amount grants, which could see a positive impact on the district's, particularly on district recreation programming. It is recommended that the Board of Directors review and approve Resolution 626, adopting the proposed district grant application policy. Any questions?
Yes, would you please go back to the first slide?
Sure.
I think it's the one I want to look at. It's the one that gives the date when something was done.
This one here?
So in 2015, we implemented a policy of having the board analyze these grant proposals, even ones below $15,000.
I wouldn't say we've implemented a policy. It's more of a staff practice.
Okay. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. And, Mark, do you have any questions?
It actually goes farther back, way farther back than 2015, because the way we originally ran into a problem here is we had staff essentially going to get grant applications for projects that weren't in the budget, that the district hadn't reviewed, and they'd come to us and say, look, we've got this free money. All we got to do is this weird thing. And we're like, what do you mean, what weird thing? We never talked about doing that. So then we're in this sort of awkward position of, do we not support the staff member who got the grant and let the opportunity go by, which I recall we did, and instead of spending money we didn't have budgeted on something we didn't necessarily really need. So that's really what generated all this, and because we're so much more organized and have better leadership now, that sort of stuff doesn't go on. So we have this really restrictive process, which sometimes takes us out of the loop because some of these things are real quick time frames. So we're essentially just coming up with a quick turnaround policy for very small amounts of money on projects that are already existing, and then taking us out of the loop. Because as you can see, when you bring us in the loop, it's a lot of work for staff to bring it up, and we didn't get on the agenda, and it's a timing issue. So this allows the small ones to go through on existing projects without getting in our way.
Are you favorable to?
Absolutely. We covered this in long-range planning, and it's
Doc, do you have any
streamlining.
No, I'm in favor of it too. I'm on that committee, and we discussed it in detail. So
I'm happy.
I'm concerned about the amount. I mean, Mark made a very good point that with the current management we have, and maybe this is not the point to talk about raising the limit for her purchasing. I'm serious because things are going up and things, and I'm just not sure if we shouldn't have her bring that back. I'm totally supportive of this. So, because I think we need to move forward with that. Because I know we have missed some grants because of it.
Would you want the wording to be changed?
No.
Instead of a fixed amount of money to move forward with this, but to have this say whatever as set for the general manager's approval? You know what I'm saying? So that way, if we raise that level, this level, can we do that? You see what I'm saying? We could, instead of setting a fixed amount, I'm not saying to do, I'm just proposing, one option would be to change the wording to make it in this document here to, instead, because it has a $14,999 fixed amount, to change that one wording to what as set by other, we set that someplace else, whatever the current level of the general manager's authorization level is. So that way, when we change that one, this one changes automatically, is what I'm saying. That make any sense?
Yeah, we can do that because the purchasing policy comes back to the board anyway. So if we change that purchasing policy, we can do that.
But that way, that addresses the issue.
Yeah, and I would be in favor of that, so.
Okay.
Okay, so if we do that, then this would go up too.
So instead of the number we referenced,
Yeah.
the buying,
Yeah.
the approved, okay.
You want to tie it then to the spending authority?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Can we do that right now? Was that?
Well, we just reword the,
We'll just reword it.
reword the motion.
I know, but changing the
Oh,
general
no.
manager's spending authority wasn't.
Oh, no, we're not doing
needs to
that.
come back. That needs
We're
to
just
come back.
changing the
Okay, I
wording.
get it.
Yeah, we're just changing the wording of the resolution.
All right, let's hear a motion on this.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 626 with the change of the amount being crossed out of $14,999 and be replaced with whatever the current authorized amount is for the general manager.
And I second it.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Malloy?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Chairman Kelly?
Aye. I don't have much tonight, but what I have noticed driving around the city is the parks look wonderful. Everyone who lives in this city should be very, very happy. I always say great parks make great cities, but it does a couple of other things like keep house values up and it keeps people happy. People go to the parks, and I came by Keto Park tonight, and it just absolutely looked wonderful. So kudos to all the guys that are out there getting it done every day. I'm proud of the district. I know the rain helped a lot, but they still look great. Special districts.
We didn't have a Ventura County Special Districts Association meeting since our last board meeting, but for California Special Districts Association, I brought two items to share with everybody. One of them is the developer impact fee bills merge. This is SB 13, and CSDA is closely watching it because it would prohibit any developer impact fees on accessory dwelling units smaller than 750 square feet and significantly limits fees for larger ADUs. So CSDA is asking for letters of opposition to this bill. I think what my recommendation to Mary would be is we not bring anything yet until after she and I have gone to Sacramento, because I am attending a legislative committee meeting on Friday, and this is on there for action by the committee, and then it will go to the executive board for CSDA. But I just wanted everybody to be aware of this thing that's happening.
Just a second. Could
Yes.
you explain to the audience and to those at home exactly how SB 13 would affect the average person?
Well, this is where the Quinby money comes from. This would be a loss of Quinby money for any buildings that would be under 750 square feet. And I think this originally came from the Granny Flat episode of everybody adding granny flats, and then sewers and water districts weren't able to get hookup fees and things, and now they're trying to make it so that that the developer doesn't have to pay Quinby fees either, is my understanding. Is that your understanding, Mary?
So what they're trying to do is kind of along the lines of, with the impact fees, is that you can't get an impact fee for anything. So with Quimby, it's usually more dwellings. Right. But with this specific one, is if we had a park impact fee, which we've kind of talked about, or developer fee, that means you don't get any, you put more residents in the community, and put more stress on parks, on fire systems and such, but there's no fee to help cover those costs. In essence, is what this bill is doing.
So.
I think that explains it very well.
Yeah. So anyhow, I'm going to the legislative committee meeting on Friday, and I will get some more input to see what really is happening with this bill. So this is one that CSDA is really watching. So I've never gone to a legislative committee meeting before, so this should be real interesting. There's like 40-some people on that committee, so we'll see how that goes. The next one is a fun one, and I don't know how many of you were around 3 or 4 years ago, but CSDA started a video contest. And in the very first video contest, they go out to the students and they ask the students to make a video about a special district. And they offer scholarships. And this year, there are 3 scholarships available, $2,000, $1,000, and I believe $500. And when we first started this the first year, one of our employees, one of our summer interns, got the second place by a video that she did and submitted. What they had found is they started doing this in September in past years, and they only had 45 days to do the video, and that just wasn't enough for the students and everything to become aware of it. And we were missing, the CSDA board felt that we were missing our people who worked for the summers for us, who were actually students and could really benefit from the scholarship money. So we've started this. It started today. I will get it out to everybody, but I would hope that our staff would talk to our summer interns and to any of our families and friends who are college students or going to be college students, because $2,000 is nothing to sneeze at. And I happen to also belong to another group that gives scholarships, but it's all based on academic. And I think a lot of young people don't always have the 4.5 and the 4.3 and things like that, but yet they have the capability of doing the video with the social media and things. And I think this is a real feather in their hat, because what CSDA does is the staff reviews the videos that are submitted, and then the staff puts the top, I think, 10 up on the website, and they can vote for it. We all can vote for whichever one we would like. So it's really kind of an exciting thing to be involved in. Last year I was on the review committee, and some of these videos are unbelievable. They look like professional videos. So, and I know these kids know everything about social media, so they can do all of that. So one other thing I'm sure Mary's going to bring up, she and I are going to Sacramento the 20th of May for legislative days. That day I'll be attending a meeting with the advocacy staff to prepare us to go to the Capitol on Tuesday. Mary has been invited to join the executive staff or executive board of CSDA and the advocacy group to represent Ventura County Special Districts Association at a dinner. So we'll be doing that, and then on Tuesday we'll be spending the time at the Capitol building. So, but we'll give you a thorough update on what's happening with Sacramento. I'm almost afraid to say what's going on in Sacramento. So, but anyhow, it's a very busy time for us for CSDA, and we're preparing for the 50th anniversary that will be in September in Anaheim. And we're also preparing for a special planning session that we're going to have in Newport Beach the third week of June. So,
Thank you, Elaine.
sorry, I was so talkative.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, okay, you're good. Oversight.
There was no meeting.
Santa Monica.
There was a meeting last week, and I attended it. The biggest issue that's coming up, and They're just gearing up for this over the next month or two meetings, I guess, next couple meetings, is the Roundup issue with all the weeds and stuff and what to do about that. That's a big issue that's coming up. I know as it was reported in our last meeting, the County of Ventura is working with the County of Los Angeles. There's various people involved trying to do research on this and trying to figure out are there options available, alternatives to using the Roundup equivalent type product, chemical stuff. And they're looking into that, and there's going to be some reports, and we got to discuss and figure out what some options may happen there. But that's a big issue that's coming up. I'm just giving you a heads up on that. That's all.
Finance.
Finance, good news. Good news. We got our second tax check in. So we have our revenues where they need to be for this year. Our revenues are up $400,000 over last year, with that tax check being a big part of it. And our expenses are well under budget, including water, which is down $90,000 over what we spent last year. And I also noticed electric is down $13,000, because one of the nice things is when you stop running sprinklers at night, you don't need the pumps to pump the pressure up to push the water out the long distances, so you save on electricity too. So we're over $100,000 under on utilities, although we're back to spending at a normal rate now because the rain is done. But we're really looking good on budget for this year.
Thank you, Mark. Liaison.
Liaison is very intimately involved in the whole process of the senior center and the planning process for that. And the first community meeting was this past week. I think most of all of us were there. I think there's mixed reviews from the board members as to how effective they thought that meeting was. I would say that the first part of it went pretty slow, and the acoustics were not very good, and could have been better done. But I think the second part of it, when we had public engagement and actually sort of modeling how to construct the senior community center project, I thought that was a good process. It got the public very involved. I don't know whether we're not all architects and can't necessarily design the most efficient models, but I think it got people really thinking about how it's all going to come together, and I think it generated a lot of excitement. So I think it was overall the end effect was desirable, and there'll be another one of those coming up. I don't know the date, but Miriam sure does.
June 6th.
So I encourage the public to come to that, and I think we have another liaison meeting coming up next week.
Personnel.
You saw, we met, and we discussed some items, and they showed up in the budget workshop last week. So we're moving along.
Policy.
We're moving along there, too.
You skipped long-range planning.
Yeah.
We haven't had a meeting in a long time. We actually had a meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Doc and I were at the meeting. Yeah.
I'm sorry. LRP.
Well, obviously we talked about grants and a little about developer impact fees, but we also got some education from our attorneys on the LAFCO annexation process. And as you would expect, it's more complicated than you would expect. So, we had some questions, and we're going to be talking about it some more.
So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's work in progress. So.
Good.
Foundation.
This is the one I like to talk about. We have another fundraiser coming up Tuesday night, or Tuesday all day. This is at 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Cronies is so easy to work with, and they give us 13 hours to get money there. So, and I think we all enjoy going to Cronies, and they're great people, and they have good food. So, Tuesday night, May 8th, all day, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Then on May 25th, we are going to collaborate with the Recreation Department and do a food truck festival from 4 to 9 p.m., and that's also known as Elaine's birthday party. So, then we are looking for sponsors and sponsorships for our 5th annual party for the parks, which will be August 17th at Cam Grove. And Nick, we're so excited that we're going to be ready to go out there. So we're looking for businesses or individuals to partner with us as a sponsor. We have multiple levels available, and you can contact Megan Hamlin at the Park District, or you can contact me or the general manager, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about being sponsors. So we appreciate everybody who steps up and becomes a sponsor for us. So we have many levels available. Thank you.
And if you're at Cronies, try the tuna on wheat toast with lettuce, tomato, and avocado. It's fantastic.
Given my husband.
GM.
Okay, a couple updates. We already went through Cam Grove Park, but to just kind of give a couple other things, we're rating right now where the playground was. If you remember, that entire area was surrounded by concrete. So right now, we're working with the insurance company and their general contractor right now to get that put back together. Once that gets put back together in June, the goal is to come back before the board for the playground. So hopefully, we'll be making movement on that, as that's one of the big pieces that's left out there. Nancy Bush Playground, the shade structure is in, so that should be installed in the next couple of weeks, just so everybody knows where we're at with that. Freedom, if you've not been out there in a while, the concrete's almost complete. They're finishing the last portion of the park, or the pathway, which is by the parking lot. They're starting the fencing and the backstops, and then starting with the irrigation, so that's moving along on schedule. Pitts Ranch Park, the pavilion there, it's under plan check with the city, so hopefully we'll be getting that back in the next couple weeks, so then we can get that started. So some things that are going on in the parks. Recreation, as you had seen earlier, summer concert series, so all of that is lined up. It's been on the websites and Facebook and everything else. We've got the bands ready to go, so we're looking forward to doing that, and it's hard to believe it's right around the corner. Eric and his staff has been working with the city to make sure that goes off without a hitch, as well as getting all the logistics in place. So we're moving forward on that. The other big piece of news right now is on next week, May 8th. We have a site visit for the Habitat Conservation Fund grant. So if you remember, we had applied for that grant, which is about $110,000. Actually, about 220 in all, 110 is ours, 110 from theirs. So they're making a site visit. So it looks like we're at least moving down the right path with them, and we'll have a better idea. So that's good news on that. Other than that, I think Director Magner gave the updates on legislative days, and we'll be up there. So that's all I have for right now.
Oral communications. Anybody have anything tonight? Go ahead.
Yes. Last week I attended the Rotary Club meeting over at Camarillo Grove Park and helped them plant the trees. I was out there for that, the luncheon and the tree planting, and worked with that. I've heard a lot of good things about the Nancy Bush playground equipment with the shade structures up. Heard a lot of good things from people in the public and out there in the community. And I'm still looking forward to when we get our sign up there in front of Nancy Bush Park, so that people know that it's us, not the city, who put that up. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
I've heard a lot of positive about the Nancy Bush Park too, and it's now with the Mothers of Camarillo, it's become a destination play date. So that's awesome. So I came across a tree down last week, and I didn't know. Isn't that the tree that broke a couple years ago? Didn't we lose a huge branch off of it up above? And now we've lost the second one? Okay, are we going to, okay, so we're going to take that tree down? I know you're not the expert, I know that WAC is, so,
If it's a tree,
or
I'm thinking,
WCA.
we looked at it before, went out to walked it. We'll probably have WCA come out and look at it now, but it might be time to cut it down.
Thank goodness nobody got hit, because it did go across 1.5 lanes of traffic on Ponderosa, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to one-up Director Mishler and Director Magner and say that I actually went to Nancy Bush Park with my grandkids the last week, and it's really great. The shade structures were just a really great move on our part. That's keeps the slides and the climate structures cool in the sun. So they had a great time. It's a really beautiful park, and congratulations on the staff for doing such a great job. Secondly, on Easter, my wife and I went out for a bike ride down the bike trail along the river, and just from a distance we could see Pitts Ranch Park, and it looked like a beehive from where we were. And so we rode up to see what was going on. I've never seen so many people in a park, and I'm actually told that Mission Oaks and Nancy Bush actually probably were even more crowded. And I agree with Director Kelly. The parks are just absolutely beautiful this time of year. Anybody who's not gone out to enjoy them, they should. We also recently went to Heritage Park, and I know a lot of people don't think too highly of Heritage Park, but it's gorgeous right now. There's a lot of people out there enjoying really passive sort of stuff, and just sitting on the grass, kids learning to ride their bikes, climbing the play structures. It's really just absolutely beautiful. And lastly, I'm not a real one for social media, but I do go on Instagram, and I recently found PVRPD's Instagram site, and it's a great site for finding out what's going on in the district. And anybody who's on Instagram, I'd encourage you to become a follower. Thanks.
A lot of meetings this month. First of all, on the 9th, we had the foundation fundraiser at Presto Pasta. Thank you for Presto Pasta for supporting us. We had a special meeting on the 15th to get the Arneal Ranch RFP approved and give the staff direction on the tent idea. We had a long-range planning meeting on the 18th, Finance Committee meeting on the 23rd, also the Senior Center, the public meeting, that was the night of the 23rd, and then our first budget meeting on the 25th. So it feels like I have a job again. There's just every day I open my email and there's something from somebody and there's some work to do. So, this is a really busy time for us and in the next month. So see you all tomorrow for the next budget meeting. So that's all I have.
This meeting is closed.
Now you have the special meeting?
Now we have a special meeting. The meeting's closed, but the show's not over.
Well, I'll reopen for the special meeting. Yes, I hope so.
Do we need to do a pledge of allegiance and all that again, or? No?
Who's handling it?
Don't you have your package?
Huh? I don't have it.
Here, use my, I got an extra one. See what happens when you guys send us so much stuff, we can't keep track of it all.
I knew about the special meeting, but I didn't.
It's right there, Bob. Right to your left. Between you and Neil. Right
Yeah,
there.
this is it. Yeah,
That's
this
yours.
is it. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to start the meeting over.
No, just to go down and let's do the agenda. We need to approve.
Okay.
Does staff have any speaker cards?
Do we have any? No, I just have the one from
No,
before.
well, we have to ask if there's new speakers.
Okay, I got it. Call to order. We've already done the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. We're not going to do it again, and we've already had the roll call. Adoption of agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Director Magner?
Aye.
Director Mishler?
Aye.
Director Malloy?
Aye.
Director Dixon?
Aye.
Chairman Kelly?
Aye. I don't have any cards, so I'm assuming no one wishes to speak on this subject. So we will move on to number 6, new items, discussion, action. A, consideration and bid award for architectural design service for the Arneal Ranch Park renovation project and adopt resolution number 627 authorizing a concurrent capital budget adjustment.
Good evening again, Chairman Kelly, members of the board. I'm talking about a lot of grant stuff tonight. I'll try to make this quick. Tonight, staff would like to recommend that the board approve Withers and Sandgren Limited for a bid or award a bid for Withers. Award a bid to Withers and Sandgren Limited for the architectural design concepts and community service outreach. Community outreach services for the renovation of Arneal Ranch Park. My goodness. So just to summarize a little bit, on the 15th, the board approved an RFP for the architectural design of a renovation of Arneal Ranch Park. In the intervening time, 2 proposals have been received. Just a little background on the park. It was developed in 1980. It has fitness equipment, a public track, a 3 to 12 play structure, a restroom, and 1 uncovered picnic pavilion. As I mentioned, the board has seen this topic before. In January 2019, staff was directed to pursue the options for renovating the park. Staff recognized that the site was eligible for statewide park program funding through Prop 68, and active recreation has been identified as a top need of the district through the needs assessment performed for the community center site. As this is one of our primary active recreation facilities, the staff has attempted to go down the grant pathway for this particular project to possibly renovate the entire park. In April, as I mentioned, the board approved an RFP. 2 proposals were received. We did have 4 groups that were interested. However, two submitted complete proposals, and 2 others unfortunately decided to decline due to the shortened time frame of the project. And to reiterate, the shortened time frame that I'm speaking of is specifically due to the grant guidelines. The application will be due on August 5th. To summarize the bids, RRM Design Group and Withers and Sandgren Limited both submitted bids. Staff interviewed both firms, and the bid amounts you can see up there on the screen. RRM Design Group came in at $93,090, and Withers and Sandgren at $95,884.25. However, RRM Design did not include 2 of the final community meetings and a final report within their price proposal. And with the inclusion of those items, the true bid amount went up to about $108,000. Both proposals met all the RFP requirements. However, like I said, RRM did define 2 of the meetings as optional, and the final report is optional. Withers and Sandgren provided extensive background experience on grant-funded projects similar to this project. And however, both firms did express some concern with the project timeline. However, both who were interviewed did express that they could complete the job in the time frame proposed. Especially impressive about Withers and Sandgren's proposal is that they provided a project timeline based exactly on the district scheduling, including our meetings, which showed that they did some homework without being prompted, and that's included in the proposal. Once again, both firms did meet the RFP requirements. However, staff judged that Withers and Sandgren were more responsive to the RFP on their past performance record, their approach to the work, the fee, and their capacity to maintain the schedule, which was a primary concern of staff's. The second part of this is that the district has not yet allocated funding for this project. Staff is recommending that $105,472.67 or $105,473 be designated, includes a 10% contingency from the capital improvement budget to cover the cost of this project. The available capital improvement budget balance currently stands at $2,844,736. Staff is recommending that the board authorize the general manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Withers and Sandgren Limited for architectural design services for the Arneal Ranch Park renovation project in the amount of $105,472.67. And review and adopt Resolution 627, approving a capital improvement budget adjustment in the amount of $105,472.67 for the design of the Arneal Ranch Park renovation project. And if there are any further questions, I might be able to answer them as well, but I would like to introduce Lacey Withers. She is a principal at Withers and Sandgren, the Withers in the Withers and Sandgren. And once again, if there are any questions, we'll take them now.
You want to have her come up and just say hi? And do you want to provide anything else, background?
Just that when you said that this next month was going to be really busy, it's about to get a lot busier with this next project. I'm excited to be here. I was really excited about the project. We did our research. We really wanted it. Anyway, when Anthony called me, I was thrilled. So we're really happy to be.
And where are you out of? I'm sorry, you're based?
San Fernando Valley, Chatsworth.
Okay, thank you. I saw from your work that you've done a lot of other related type work.
Yeah, very similar, yeah. And that's what the project schedule is, pretty scary, but because we have done very similar projects, we feel pretty confident that we have the materials, we know the process, we've gone through it. You know, we just basically need to pick the dates for the community meetings and get those postcards done and start flyering, so.
When I read the information in the packet, the conclusion that I drew was that you wanted this project bad, and you've just confirmed that.
We did, thank you. Sometimes we come across projects that we're excited, we're more excited about than others, and we were excited about this one.
Mark, you have anything?
No, I don't. The speed that this moves forward is really impressive. I mean, we're just approving the bid, and now we're here, and we've got the schedule, and yes, it is a lot more work and a lot more public meetings, but doing stuff like this gets a much better reaction from the people that live around it and use it on a regular basis when you include them in the conversation. So sometimes having deadlines helps make things happen faster. Happen faster in government isn't really something we're good at. So here we got a chance. We have to be good at it. So I'm looking forward to getting going.
I totally agree. That was one of the questions, actually, in the interview, and I said the same thing. When you have a tight schedule and you have to meet grant deadlines, sometimes we have to make decisions faster. It's easier for government to speed it up. So I actually kind of welcome a tight schedule because we get stuff done.
Doc, do you have anything?
Just in the cost of this is the public outreach. Is that cost that you bear, or is that as far as like postage and flyers and brochures?
Yes, we built that into the budget, and it's shown as expenses and the postage and mailing and all that.
Do you have anything?
Yes.
No, I was impressed with the package because I'm familiar with two of the projects you've done. So, the Equestrian Center, the Whittier Narrows and the Frank Bonelli. I'm familiar with both of those. I've been to them fairly recently, so both of them are beautiful places. So,
oh, thank you. We're working on them. They're still they're about to go to construction.
Right. But that whole area down there has just got so much going on and things. So it's a beautiful area. So I'm anxious. I'll be looking at that place because that's an area I go to quite often. So
good, thank you. And we're excited about the protections, the water quality work that's going to go on there.
Right. And the flood control. You're doing some flood control things too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. And water quality, because right now all the runoff just goes right into the rivers.
Right.
So we're going to be taking care of that with the new construction and the new work.
Well, I was impressed with the package. So.
Should we vote on these separately or together? I notice you have a conjunctive "and" there.
Yeah. So right now, if you want to make the recommendation, you can make the first one. And the reason there's two is because if we didn't approve the first one, there was no need to approve the second.
So there'd be two separate motions then?
You can make them two separate.
All right. Motion on first.
I'll make a motion to authorize the general manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Withers and Sandgreen LTD for architectural design services for the Arneal Ranch Park renovation project in the amount of $105,472,067.
Not to exceed, yeah.
Not
So that's both.
in the amount of, not, it's, I guess I can say not to exceed, yeah.
I'll second.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Malloy,
Aye.
Director Dixon,
Aye.
Chairman Kelly.
Aye. Now we need a motion to adopt resolution number 627.
So moved.
Approving the capital improvement budget
Oh,
adjustment.
yes,
for
review,
Those without a packet in front of them. So,
yeah, let's say approving the capital improvement budget adjustments in the amount of not to exceed $105,472.67 for the design of the Arneal Ranch Park renovation project.
I'll second.
Director Magner,
Aye.
Director Mishler,
Aye.
Director Malloy,
Aye.
excuse me, Director Dixon,
Aye.
Aye. You okay, Karen?
No, she's not okay.
I'm surprised she's been with us this long.
For the record, Chairman Kelly votes aye. Now we have a chance. You never get this twice. Another chance at oral communications. Does anyone have anything that they've thought up in the last?
Thank you for being here tonight, ma'am.
Look forward to it.
Thank you for being here tonight.
See you soon.
If there are no further oral communications, the meeting is officially closed.
Gee, that's pretty.